Every July 1st is Bobby Bonilla Day. Why? Because Bobby Bonilla either signed he signed the greatest deal. The Mets may have signed the worst deal ever. David, hit me with some music.
So I'm going to go way back. I'm going to start with something, of course, that is not giant now, but it was one of the first deferred contracts in sports history. So it was pretty big back then. And that's Spencer Haywood. He signed with the ABA's Denver Rockets the 1 year out of college, but his $1.5 million contract was severely deferred. He got $75,000 per year for 20 years, starting at age 20. So it doesn't sound big now, of course, $75,000, but back then, that's a decent amount.
David, it was. I mean, I don't want to take away from probably somebody you have on your list, but yeah, if you made anywhere near $1 million, that was like more money than you could think of. I mean, houses were going for about 40, 50 grand. Same one's going for $1 million now. Put things in perspective. Go ahead.
So let's touch on Ryan Braun. It's a lot of baseball on this list, by the way. It's just a lot of times they're deferring the contracts here. So Ryan Braun, everyone knows him for the PEDs he got suspended for and everything. But he was due $18 million in deferred money from an extension that he signed in 2011. So Braun will be getting $1.8 million every year from 2022 to the year 2031. So he's still in the middle of that. It just started last year.
I mean, it's got to be beautiful. It's like Bobby Bonilla. And while we're talking about this, the Mets agreed to buy out the last $5.9 million of his contract. This was during the whole Enron thing. They were hurting for money. So they said, hey, how about we just kick it down there? We'll pay you $1.2 million for the next 25 years, starting in 2011. Yeah, I think he's 13 more years to go or something like that. Imagine your only job is to get up, put on your house shoes and your robe, and you walk out to the mailbox. Because I got to be honest with you, I don't want a direct deposit. I want an actual check so I can walk out. I would hire a band to give me walk-up music as I went up to the mailbox once a year to get $1 million check. Go ahead, David.
Let's go and move over to Steve Young. Now, it didn't end up great because of a bankruptcy situation, but Steve Young out of college signed a contract with the Los Angeles Express. He was supposed to get paid $40 million over 43 years, okay? He got 6.2 as a signing bonus, but he was supposed to get the rest over a 43-year period. But because of bankruptcy for the owner, they had to end up settling for $1.4 million is what he got. He said it was better than waiting on bankruptcy and basically getting nothing.
Right, but I remember Steve Young and I remember Magic as well. When they signed those deals, they were going to make $1 million a year. And I remember everybody lost their mind. $40 million now? Yeah, you're a hockey player. But then, it meant something. Go ahead.
I'm going to let Kenny read this next one here. It's a pretty good one with Rick DiPietro.
Yeah, so they signed, the New York Islanders signed Rick DiPietro to a 15-year contract, and he just got banged up with injuries, his jaw, amongst other things. So they agreed to a buyout, 2/3 of his remaining salary for the next 23 years. That's 1.5 every million until 2029. So that's another one of those situations where you go out to the mailbox, you hire the second line, and you just party your way to your 1.5 mil.
I mean, seriously, I would be extra and over the top. I would go get a local high school band or a small college. Guys, as soon as I open the door, play the music. I want the drumline major leading me out there. Yep, with the hat bending all the way backwards, touching the ground. I want the whole thing as I go. Because think about it. Once a year, that's your job. You go collect that check. I'm like the groundhog. You're only going to see me once a year. That's it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was in 2006 for the 15-year contract. He'll still be collecting when he's 48 years old. Good for that guy.
Yeah.
I have a local edition here, and I believe
Chris Webber.
No.
Oh.
Believe he just got off the Pistons books 2 years ago, but it is one Josh Smith.
Are you serious?
Josh Smith, he got a $54 million contract over 4 years, but only played in 105 games for them. And they did the stretch provision. So it wasn't like a, annual, whatever payment thing. It was a stretch provision. And they were able to stretch that out for some years after he played there. So he was getting $5.3 million through I believe just a couple seasons ago. He finally came off the books.
Josh Smith. Jeez. That was a long
That's crazy,
time ago,
man.
Right. But it was Joe Smith that they
tried to sign, right?
He was the guy that it was all that tampering that was going along with. But
yeah, and they said the signing couldn't happen with Joe Smith, yeah, but
still saw Pistons were paying DeAndre Jordan last year.
Well, here's another one, and this is a good one because he comes off the books next season, and it is one Ken Griffey Jr. When he signed with his hometown team of Cincinnati, they deferred $12 million of his salary until after his 9-year deal ended. So he's still making $3 million every year until 2024.
Wait, say that again?
He's making $3 million every year through 2024. So one more year or through next season. So he has one more payment left where he gets $3 million. That's crazy. He hasn't played in Cincinnati since, 2009?
Yeah, I think I may have you beat on that.
Uh-oh.
And it's not for as much, but it's still. Brett Saberhagen. You remember him?
I do.
Pitcher for the Mets. He was traded. He will receive, now it's not millions of dollars. I mean, he pitched, in the 90s? He's going to receive $250,000, started in 2005 until the year 2029. He's getting $250,000. The man hasn't pitched in damn near 20 years.
No, it's been a long time.
When I was like, a friend of mine, like Brett Saberhagen, wow. But yeah, it ain't the millions. But you know what? I'll take $250,000 every year. At that point, maybe I just hired a drum line to meet me at the front door to go get that check.
Every time you walk in.
I'm not doing direct deposit. No. But, oh yeah, I want an actual check just so I can grab the piece of paper, hold it around, go back in the house. But yeah, Brett Saberhagen.
And let's close it out with this one because I think this is the ultimate in my mind, ending to how you want a deferred contract to happen. And that is one Mario Lemieux for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He played in the 1990s, was a wonderful player, Hall of Fame career.
He's still getting paid?
Hold on. He was supposed to be owed $32.5 million. That was his deferred, so he was going to get money, but the total was $32.5 million. But the owner declared bankruptcy. So what he decided to do was he converted $20 million that they owed him and became the owner of the team. They said, well, since you're in bankruptcy, I'll take that $20 million you owe me, and you can just keep that and just make me the owner. He became the owner, acting as chairman, president, and CEO. He ended up winning 3 more Stanley Cups.
That's a boss move.
3 Stanley Cups as an owner. That's how you want deferred contracts to end. You're the owner now.
That is a boss move.
That
is the contract blitz right there, folks. 97-1.